Welcome the Cult Information and Family Support Group with Ms. Ros Hodgkins as the President. We invite you to give an opening statement. We do remind you this committee is here to deal with a specific inquiry about the tax-exempt status of charities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Committee, for giving us the invitation to present to you at this hearing today. We do come from CIFS, which is an organisation that came together in 1996, as our submission has said to you, to form Cult Information and Family Support. All had had experience in this area and knew how valuable it was to find support, to find information, and then that broadened to help many people, and so we continue today to be an organisation that is able to help people with information, support, and we have moved on to sharing and trying to educate, especially the health professionals, by having seminars, and also very interested in trying to help schools understand the phenomena that is so lackingly understood in the community. We do believe that we have the experience at the coalface, or where the rubber meets the road, if you like, to make a contribution to this important Senate inquiry regarding the Tax Law Amendment Bill. We're not lawyers, we don't have all the answers, but we're a voice, I believe, for the many people who've been brave enough to seek help and to share their experiences. And I have to say at this point that that human toll that runs across into the society has a ripple effect. There are many people who can be so devastated by people who do come into organisations that are claiming tax exemption and yet have lost contact with family members, with grandchildren, and who no longer can speak to maybe their siblings. And I want to point that out today as we're looking at such an important issue. And the other point that I would like to strongly make is that it is not about one or two groups. Contrary to some of the submissions that are against tax amendment because only one publicised such group that I won't mention is the one being of concern. CIFS can confidently estimate that there are many hundreds, if not more than hundreds, perhaps thousands, of groups operating within Australia that would claim tax exemption simply because they claim a religious status, yet would show on examination that basic human rights, the freedom that we take for granted here in Australia, are not afforded to their members, and indeed would contravene all that freedom and democracy is about. And we can't state strongly enough how many stories we've heard that we've been able to confirm. And it's not just the few disgruntled former members speaking. It's many, many people that come seeking help, seeking support, right across the board of many different types of groups that automatically receive tax exemption. Now, CIFS believes and it advocates absolutely in the freedom of belief. It's a democratic right, I believe, to believe something of your choice. But that belief should never be something that can be hidden behind to cause harm or take away the freedom of another human being. And indeed, I believe when there are accepted human rights being abused because of religion that is being supported by taxpayers' money, that it creates a cynicism within the Australian public towards the legitimate charitable organisations and the churches who are providing enormous benefits and charity to a very broad population within Australia. We also have heard of the horrendous, long-lasting harm caused to individuals and to families by authoritarian, elitist, inclusive groups of all shapes and sizes who use the psychological manipulation, insidious and coercive techniques, and the dynamics known as thought reform or mind control to indoctrinate and keep members obedient and compliant. And I do know that time doesn't allow us to go into too much detail here, and I would like to table or to give to you a copy of the after effects from cult involvement as experienced by former members, an investigation that CIFS undertook in 2006. And also, along with that, we will give you groups that we have had inquiries from. We in no way say that all our inquiries have got any, we cannot claim that they are abusive just because we've had an inquiry, but we do know that many are, through careful consideration and how we could look at how those abuses came about. So we would like to table that, and a handout that we give to the universities, which gives a very succinct and simple way to understand what we, as the CIFS organisation, are wanting to present today in regard to tax exemption.
Well, let's, as the committee, happy to receive these documents. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to just maybe at this point just make a simple statement and perhaps a way to understand the phenomena that is not easy for the average person who has not had contact and who listen to people who are talking about their experiences within a group. And if we talk about thought reform or mind control, if we think about a specific set of methods and techniques that influence how a person feels, thinks and acts, it becomes destructive when used to undermine a person's ability to act and think independently, and disrupts the person's authentic identity. The person can no longer express opinions different from the group or from the leader's directives. Add to this manipulating rewards and punishments with a tightly controlled system of logic, where those who dissent or question are made to feel there is something inherently wrong with them. Now, at this point, I would like to say no one joins a cult or a destructive group. They join a group that they see as having answers for them, answers perhaps that are attractive, that give them benefit, and that will also be beneficial to society. The problem being that the group they start to become associated with and belong to have never told them what they will end up believing down the track, or what they will have to do down the track. I understand this from personal experience, and I won't go into that today. But my daughter did join a group. It was a church group. It was Bible-based. It was well recognised in Australia. It was banned from universities, which is almost unprecedented. Yet it claimed tax deduction, and it did the things that we're talking about today. It came from America. The minute it landed on the shores, it claimed tax exemption. Now, beliefs can be misused cleverly to be the tool used to manipulate, control and abuse. We can take sacred texts and we can use those out of context to cleverly cause people to be manipulated and controlled. We have to be aware of this. The research, a great deal of research has been done through International Cultic Studies Association based in Florida, of which we're members. And it gives us a greater, a wider, a broader understanding of how people can be influenced by a set of very incremental steps.